Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's such a pleasure to have you here. I admire you a lot. Lauren has basically been on stage with Alex Hormozy and Gary Vee, and she's also been interviewed with Grant Cardone, and she was also a millionaire by the age of only 23. So tell us, what is your secret?
Wow, that bio makes me sound way cooler than I actually am.
You
Oh
are
man, thank you for the intro. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I would honestly say that the secret is really just consistency. I've been very, very focused for quite a few years at this point, and I think you can compress things into a one-liner like that. And I hear that and I'm like, dang, I did all of that stuff. But it has been over a period now of, well, 8 years. And so it's kind of exciting to me to imagine what can be done in double that amount of time. The next 16 years, what can possibly be achieved? Because, of course, 5 of those 8 years was me just chipping away, putting in the groundwork to get things all started. So I wish I could say that there was a cooler secret than that, but it's pretty much just consistency over time.
Yeah, because motivation is what gets you started, but then consistency and discipline are what keep you going, right?
That's right.
Amazing. So can you tell us a little bit more about your journey as a female entrepreneur? Basically, what inspired you to start your own business, and what do you do exactly, briefly, for those who don't know you?
Yeah, so what we do is what I was actually doing to build my own successful online fitness coaching business. And then I had a personal branding online course, and I also had a lead generation agency, and I had a very specific way to make sales on social media. And so in those businesses, I would follow this process, which would just be all around me making content that I enjoyed to make, while ensuring that I was speaking to people that didn't know who I was, people that already knew who I was, but hadn't yet raised their hand or had any interest in actually working with me. And then also people that wanted to know more about how actually I could help them. And so I segmented my content into those 3 different buckets, but I didn't really realize there was anything special about what I was doing until people started asking me, Lauren, how are you making so many sales on social media? And so I didn't feel confident in showing other people this system. So I said to some of my clients who I was doing lead generation for with the agency, I was like, well, do you want us to try and actually test this out on your existing socials? And a couple of them said yes, and it worked really well. And so I did a test round of 20 different businesses to see if it would work for them. And over a 4-month period, we were able to get results for 17 of those clients. The other 3, we ended up working with them between 2 and 3 months longer so that we could actually get the system converting. And I thought, okay, sorry, that was really loud. I thought, okay, well, I love doing this, but like, do I think I can teach this to anybody else? So Noor, who's the operations manager at my company, I kind of showed her what we were doing, and she started running it for the lead gen clients, and it was crushing. And it was interesting because I never thought that what we would do is help people make a ton of sales on social media and install a social media sales system into their business. But that's what we do at this point at Impact School. And it's really fun because it's what my team loves doing. And we're able to work with a ton of cool businesses and really, really help them scale and get more clients. And so that's the journey on how we got here. And yeah, I think it's like when you find something that you love, you never work a day in your life. And I really feel that way. And I'm grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I actually feel the same way. And I'm going to ask you later how you can find that work-life balance, because it is something that I struggle with, and a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with too, when you love your job so much, right? And so what challenges have you faced as a female entrepreneur in a traditionally male-dominated industry, and how have you overcome them? Because the gap is still 8% in the US, but apparently in 2020, there were more women that started businesses than men. So yeah, what were your challenges?
Whenever I go to an event in Dubai, people come up to me and they say, oh, so are you from Russia? Right? Essentially implying that I'm a hooker or something. Or they'll ask me, oh, well, and nothing against Russians, by the way. It's just what people say because there's a lot of actual Russian prostitutes in Dubai. But, or they'll say to me, oh, so who's your husband? You know what I mean? And I'm literally like, are you kidding me? I'm here by myself. And so I think it's pretty easy as a woman in business. We always get underestimated. And I used to get so frustrated by this. Like, oh my gosh, just listen to me. Like, I know what I'm talking about better than these dudes. And what's interesting now is I, in a way, kind of like it, because you can be a black horse and a black horse, dark horse, dark horse, dark horse, dark horse, not black. You can be, you get to be a dark horse. And then what's funny for me is that no one takes me serious. And then like a bit later, someone will like repost an Instagram story that I've tagged. And then everybody from that event will be like, oh my gosh, da, 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 da. And then finally they'll start messaging me. And then the next time I go to the event, they all take me seriously. But I just like my success to be the thing which gets people to take me serious. I used to think that if I show my body, or if I, have better shredded abs than all these dudes, like these guys are going to take me serious, but none of that's true. The best thing to actually be able to get noticed, or to have people's attention, or whatever it is that you want, like, is just to actually have the success, and just focus on yourself and don't even listen to what other people are saying, because they're going to talk about you whether you're winning or not, and they'll always find ways for like, oh, the only reason she achieved this or that is because of this or that. But I think women are so often underestimated, but if you just know that and bear that in mind, you can just have that, is something that you consider whenever you're doing anything, and you just have to block out the noise, right? Because people are going to talk whether you like it or not, so just don't listen.
That's it, 100%. People are always going to judge you no matter what, right? And people judge by the book by its cover, 100%. And so what advice would you give to, aspiring female entrepreneurs to like find that balance? Because I know that you mentioned in one of your reels, for example, that you didn't have your period for more than 5 years because you were just constantly in a hustle mode, pushing yourself. And I find it hard too. I have a lot of masculine energy. So what advice would you give to just find that balance? Because studies show that 80% of women have hormone imbalances, and most of them don't even realize it.
Yeah, so I'm definitely not a doctor, so I don't want to advise on that. But just regarding balance in business, I don't think there's such thing as balance. I think it's the way that we perceive things. So, for example, I don't believe in work. I don't want to do work. I'm not going to do work. I stay away from doing any work all the time. And I have a very different definition of work than many people. So to me, work is the things that I must do in order to achieve an outcome. So it's okay in the short run if I must prepare a bunch of paperwork for a lawyer because I need to do some legal stuff, right? Or it's okay if I need to read a spreadsheet that my accountant has sent to me because I need to approve something. To me, that is work, because that's the judgment that I'm placing on the activity. But the rest of the stuff that I do not define it as work. And I think the definition that we give to something allows us to have positivity towards it or negativity towards it. And also, that then prevents other people's opinions from swaying us from making the wrong decision. For example, if people invite me out to go for drinks in the evening, to me, that's work. I hate drinking, and I honestly don't enjoy those loud environments. I hate it. My perception of that is negative, and it's not something that I want to do. So it is work, because I have to do something that I'm not enjoying. Whereas if I could stay at home on my laptop, writing some copy and some content, or reviewing some stuff for my team and clients, that for me is energizing. So that is not work for me. So do you see that because of the definition that I've given something, it is either positive or negative? So if I'm going to go and sacrifice the thing that I want to be doing in exchange for the thing that I really don't want to be doing, I'm ultimately just affecting my own energy. And the only reason that I would do that is because of my friends are going to judge me, or I feel like I shouldn't be doing this because there's some reason in society that we shouldn't actually work. Well, I say work because that's people's understanding, but that we shouldn't actually focus on our business, right? And so it really comes down to understanding what gives you energy, what takes away your energy. And the way to do that is through a revenue review. So a revenue review is literally, and I'm doing one, it's over there. I'm writing down in my notebook what I'm doing in every 30-minute increment. And I'm putting a money sign next to it if it makes me money. And I'm putting a plus sign next to it if it gives me energy. And if it doesn't give me energy or make me money, then I'm going to delegate it or automate it. And if it makes me money but doesn't give me energy, I'm going to be very aware that I need to offload this over the next 90 days, because otherwise I'm just going to be focusing on doing activities that only produce money and that don't give me energy. And that's not the business that I want to run. And so this is something that before any member starts working with us at Impact School, we have them do this exercise for 2 weeks, because it is so effective in allowing you to actually create the business that you love. Because to me, there's no need to separate work and life or whatever, because I believe it all to be one ecosystem that can fuse together as one, that allows you to actually live a life by your values. And that's what's important to me.
Wow, I love that. This is so powerful. And it's literally how you label things, right? Like for you, work is going to a bar and getting drunk. And yeah, it's how you label it and how much effort you need to put into it, right? And so what skills or qualities do you have that you believe that are essential for women, for entrepreneurial women like you to thrive in today's business landscape?
I'm able to really not care about what people think about me. Honestly, I couldn't care less what people think about me. I I wear the clothes that I want to wear that are comfortable for me. And also, I am very protective of my energy. And I think this is critical because as women, it's very easy to be a people pleaser. So somebody will ask us to do something and we'll feel obliged to do it. Or we'll have some opportunity, but because we like a huge opportunity, let's say you had a huge opportunity. I was invited to speak on stage with Gary Vee.
Hmm.
And at the same time, I was supposed to be speaking at this way smaller event of a friend of mine in Dubai. And so I technically, if I was trying to people please, I would have said no to the Gary Vee and I would have said yes to the thing that I'd already said yes to. But I had to be really real about like actually the direction that I want to go in my life. And so I declined the event in Dubai. It was totally cool. The friend was so understanding and was like, oh my gosh, Lauren, this is a huge thing. So I then flew out to America and spoke at that event, which was awesome. And so if you're able to block out the noise and to stop caring about what everybody thinks about you, I really think that that is a trait that women need to be successful in business. Because people are always going to have their opinions, like I already said. But it also comes down to knowing yourself and knowing what triggers you. Because there are very certain things that I know give me a huge amount of anxiety. And so if I'm involved with those things, then I'm just not going to be able to show up as the person that I want to be. Some examples of things like I really, really, really get stressed if a team member comes to me with a client complaint. So
Hmm.
I've set a boundary so that instead of the team member coming to me, they go to their manager, right? And then that manager then goes to our head of operations. And then if it must come to me, it will. But to be honest, that hasn't really happened in the last year because I need to give that boundary to myself so that I can honor my energy and stay in my zone of genius. And so self-awareness plus really not getting affected by what other people think about you, I would say those are probably the two biggest things.
Yeah, there is something that I see all the time amongst my clients. They always, struggle with people pleasing, confidence, setting boundaries, self-esteem, yeah, putting themselves first. So yeah, thank you for sharing these such valuable tips. And let's, change topics a little bit. So from your perspective, why is college a scam? And why did you drop out of college? And how were you able to achieve all of this?
Yeah, I mean, I was studying on the UK's #1 business degree, and none of my professors had ever had their own businesses. So I was running a business at the time, an online health and fitness business, and just none of it was relevant to anything that I was doing. So I really believe that the best way to learn is through doing, and theory is only realized in the real world when you execute on the activity. So everything that I was learning in university, it had no direct application. So I forgot all of it. I've literally forgot everything. I don't remember any of it except Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And I only really understood that when I personally was in some very stressful situations while I was traveling and didn't have a hotel booked because I was so busy trying to fix a problem. And so in that moment, I realized, oh, this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. But yeah, so I just, the best education comes from the person that's been there and done it. And I truly believe in just-in-time learning, which is a concept I learned from this book called The Toyota Way, which is essentially about Toyota's manufacturing. And essentially, when they're building cars, they save a ton of space in the manufacturing factory because they just bring the item in when it needs to be put together and then they move it to the next place. And so everything operates like really, really swiftly. And it means that if you want to take the analogy and apply it to the real world for yourself, It's like, why try and learn everything about a topic? Instead, just learn about the thing that you need to use in that moment, apply it, and then you'll really see how it works in the real world. You'll learn the different ways that you need to apply it for yourself, for your business, for your unique situation, because many people always make the excuse, oh, well, I'm different, this isn't going to work for me. But it's not that you're different, and it's not that it's not going to work for you. It's just that you're being lazy and not taking 5 minutes to try and figure out how this situation you can apply it to yourself. And I see this all the time. So that's what I would really, really say is my answer to that question, is that just get the education from the person that's got the thing that you want.
That's it. Because basically society imposes to just go to college, get a 9 to 5, buy a house, get a mortgage, retire and die, right? But life is so much more than that. And yeah, for a lot of jobs, you do not need a degree. Unless you're a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer, you do not really require a degree, right?
Well, the ChatGPT passed the lawyer exams better than a human.
Insane. There you have the answer.
Yeah.
I'm
Crazy.
obsessed with ChatGPT. I literally use it for absolutely everything. And so if you had to go back in life, would you change anything? If so, what would you change or what would you do differently?
There are always stupid mistakes that you make that in hindsight you wish you didn't do. Everybody does that. But again, I think I always have this frame in my mind that everything that's happening to me is happening at the exact right moment, and it's giving me the lesson that I need to become the best version of myself. And I truly believe that. I know it sounds a little woo-woo, but I really believe this deep down, like 100%, even when I'm in a terrible situation. And it's things like, okay, let's say I was having some heart palpitations, right? Well, what was that telling me? I need to slow down and stop getting myself in stressful situations. So then I had to change my actions, and I had to pre-handle this happening again. Let's say you are in business and you're going to get sued, right? Well, let's look at what happened for that to happen. Well, you didn't have the right agreements, you didn't have the right protection around your business. So there's a huge lesson in that. And so now I see these symptoms of these situations that are really, you could put the label terrible, right? These things that are really energetically draining into my life or whatever. Well, if that happens, then this is a cause of something that you did in the past that was not positive. So now I take all these times as really big learning. So I don't think I would change anything, even though, I mean, like, I look at things and I was like, okay, I would change this. But if that never happened to me, I'd probably still be making these mistakes that I was making, but I didn't realize at the moment. It's like if someone's super fat, you know, they have a heart attack, and then they realize, oh God, I need to lose 200 pounds. But until they had the heart attack, they didn't realize that they're so unhealthy. And sometimes these rock bottom moments, unfortunately, have to happen for us to change.
100%. And so what would you say is your biggest learning then in your life as a businesswoman?
It's too hard to say. It's really like there's so many ways that I could go. What type of give me a topic and I can there's everything. I've made like thousands of mistakes. You know, thousands, literally
Yeah.
thousands. Every day I make a mistake.
Yeah, we all do, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was more like a mistake in your business or in your life that, you know, made a huge impact that you're like, maybe this could be a lesson for someone that is just starting off their business.
I guess the like stressful ones, to be honest, that can easily be prevented is having proper legal protection in your business. A few years ago, I just didn't have that at all. And obviously that can cause huge issues. It's like people, you know, hiring people without having agreements or having them do some freelance work and not having a contract. And same with clients, like not having a contract with clients. That is just stupid. You know,
Yeah.
it's so easy to fix. You can hire a lawyer, pay them a few thousand one time, and then it's solved forever. But people don't want to spend the money. I was too cheap in the beginning, right? But if you do it yourself or try and use one of those like basic templates, there's a lot of risk to that. You're better off paying someone because it can cost you way more money in the long run.
Yes, 100%. Having everything set up correctly since the beginning is definitely key. So it's good to invest that initial money for sure.
Totally.
And so is there a question that you would like me to ask you or that you would like to share with the world?
Yeah, it's just, every day I like to ask myself, am I loving what I'm doing right now? Because when you ask yourself this, then you can course correct and actually make sure that, because especially if you're running a business, right? A lot of people got into business to have freedom, but then we end up creating ourselves this miserable job that takes all of our time and energy. So are you loving what you're doing right now? And is this work, or yeah, is this life? And I think that when you replace the word life whenever you want to say time, like it takes so much time, it takes so much life, right? It's a very powerful reflection.
It is indeed 100%. Thank you so much, Lauren, for sharing all your expertise and experiences with us. It's been a truly pleasure to have you here, and I wish you the best with, all your endeavors.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was great, and I'm glad that we're connected. This was fun. I think what you're doing is
Same.
cool. So
Same.